Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to give you guys my first impressions on the Ruger 556 300 blackout. I had an opportunity to try it out today. I got a call earlier today from a guy that had a horse ranch, and this guy had a bunch of shotguns and revolvers that he often shoots on his property. He didn't own any ARs, and because of the whole coronavirus panic that's going on, he decided that now was the time to go out and get himself an AR-15, a modern sporting rifle slash self-defense rifle. So he went to the gun store without really doing too much research on it, and basically just told him I want an AR-15. And the Ruger 556 in 300 blackout is what they gave him, along with they gave him a Boris 2 point, I think it was a 2.5 magnification scope. I mean, obviously the guy paid a lot more than what I think they charged him $300 just for the scope. I think that those scopes go for around $100 on Amazon, so definitely overpaid for the scope. I think I'm just kind of going on memory there, and I think he paid something like 700 plus. I think 750 for the rifle. I definitely think he overpaid for that. I mean, the Ruger 556 usually comes in, I think, somewhere near $500, even less than that. Then again, it is a 300 blackout, so maybe there's a bit of a premium on that. I made the guy aware that, hey, you can also get a 556 upper fur, which will be a little bit easier a little cheaper rather to shoot. And I warned him about making sure he doesn't mix up his ammunition if he decides to do that. But that said, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the rifle. My first impressions, I got to shoot it a little bit. The rifle had it kind of felt similar to my Ruger MPR. I don't have the rifle here. The rifle is at the guy's house, because I was over there. So I don't have the rifle here to show you guys. But the rail was the same. It had the same rail, same thin rail, had the same feel. The barrel was a little bit shorter. It was an 18-inch barrel that had a standard, 16-inch barrel. It had the cheapo wobble stock on it. The MPR comes with the better stock. But that really wasn't an issue at all. The thing that I found on it was that the trigger was a little rough. I thought. I had brought my Radical AR with me, and I kind of tested them out side by side. My Radical trigger is a lot smoother. Now it might just be because it's more broken in, but I thought that the Ruger 556 had a somewhat rough trigger. I was, first of all, I was able to have my measure here with me, and this guy had a very large property with open fields for his horses, and his different animals. So we were able to shoot some good distance. I had him sight in at 20 yards, and the reason why I had him sight in at 20 yards is because because the 300 blackout is very similar to the AK round, to the 7.62x39. So with my AKs, usually if I get a 20-yard zero, I get a second zero at 200 yards. So that's why I had the guy zero in at 20 yards. What I did is I then tested it out at 100 yards. At 100 yards with that Ruger 556 300 blackout, I was able to shoot 2.5 inches. Okay, so and I'm sure if I worked with it, got a little bit more comfortable with that trigger, I could probably get it down to 2 inches. But shooting that rifle for the first time, just working with that trigger, I shot 2.5 inches at 100 yards, and I only did that once. Basically, I'm using this guy's ammo. I wasn't there to for me to enjoy myself. I just wanted to see what the capabilities of that rifle were, so that I could then let the guy know, okay, this is what you need to work towards. Okay, he shot I think 3.5 inches at the 100 yards. So the guy was a pretty good shot. I mean, he's shot guns before. I just basically told him that he's got to get a little bit more comfortable with that trigger. I took the rifle out to 200 yards. Right, I measured out 200 yards, and I did a 5-shot group, and basically 5 shots: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I shot a little high from where I wanted to be. At 200 yards, I was hoping that everything would have dropped back down near the center. But it actually came in high, and I shot 5 inches at 200 yards with that Ruger 5.56. And again, I shot a total of I did test it out at 30 yards just to see how it was working. So I did one grouping at 100 yards, 2.5 inches. I did one grouping at 200 yards, 5 inches. So I'm seeing a consistent 2.5 MOA. Okay, so which I think is pretty decent. And I think if I worked with the rifle a little bit, I could probably get a little bit better. What I found interesting is that the group stayed high at 200 yards. I did adjust it down a little bit afterwards. What I think was happening there is, I think that maybe the rifle, because he didn't have like a standard red dot. I don't think that he had the standard 2.5 inches height over bore. So I think that might have something to do with why the 20-yard zero didn't give me an automatic zero at 200 yards. And then what I did with this, after I shot this group, I basically lowered it 2 clicks, which would bring it down to center. I mean, the guy didn't have a whole lot of ammo. He wasn't able to buy a whole lot of ammo, so I didn't want to shoot it again because we shot a total of 40 rounds, and then the guy still had 40 rounds, so I didn't want to go into the next box. So that's why, I just lowered it by 2 clicks, which from my experience, I know that should bring it right about where it needs to be. So those were my first impressions on the Ruger 5.56, in 300 blackout. The trigger's a little hard a little rough compared to other triggers I've shot, but definitely still workable. I can, still hit 2.5 MOA without working with, without too much practice on this gun. I like the rail on it that, it has that standard, that thin rail. It feels really good, really comfortable. I told the guy the stock, at some point he may want to upgrade it. I also told the guy that he may want to change either to a red dot or go to a variable scope from because basically he had just I think it was a 2.5 power on that scope, which basically meant that he could only shoot distance. It was kind of hard to shoot, close distance. I really couldn't do too many tactical drills with the guy, and have him work on some other things because the guy bought the gun, as a home defense, type of gun. So the gun store really gave him the wrong scope for that function. I mean, the guy does have property, but I think that it's more useful for him to have a red dot. But anyway, those are my first impressions on that Ruger 5.56 and 300. Really nice rifle. Definitely way overpaid for it. I think at $750. I think for a rifle that's without the scope. Because the guy, I think he's got like over $1,000 in that rifle now between the rifle and the scope that they gave him. I think the guy way overpaid it. So at the $750 that he paid for, I think he got ripped off. But if you're buying it at the $500 or in that area, I think it's a good rifle to get. And if I would immediately upgrade the stock on that. So they're my thoughts. If you guys got any questions, comments, feedback, please put in the comment section. If not, remember to channel, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.